Meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Seaside Park in the County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, held on Thursday, December 5th, 2024. This meeting advertised to begin at the conclusion of the work meeting, which has now just ended. The meeting has been advertised pursuant to the provisions of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of the meeting was properly provided by transmitting the notice of the meeting for publication in the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger on January 5th, 2024. Notice of the meeting of the governing body also has been posted in the corridor of the municipal building and in the office of the municipal clerk. Roll call.
Councilmember Anfield?
He will not be here this evening.
Thank you. Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Here.
Mayor Pearson?
Here.
Thank you.
Let us all rise for a moment of silence to be followed by our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda seeks approval of the minutes. Those are the minutes for November 21st, 2024, work session, November 21st, 2024, regular meeting. Any comments from council? If not, a motion?
Make the motion. Approve.
Motion by Councilmember Condos,
Second.
second by Councilmember Kraft. Roll call.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
I'm going to abstain, I was not here.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next, our ordinances. The first one is final reading and a public hearing. It's ordinance 2024-25, amending Chapter 435 of the Code of the Borough of Seaside Park entitled Restricted Parking for Handicapped Persons. And this entailed the most recent updated list of those who qualified and had submitted the appropriate documentation and the listing, and those that, for one reason or another, no longer are on the list. And this is the most recent version thereof. Any other questions, comments from council? If not, this is a second reading. I'll go into the audience if there are any public comments on second reading ordinance 2024-25. Hearing none, I would close the public portion. I'd entertain a motion from council.
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft.
No second that.
Second by Council President Wilk. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next is first reading and introduction. It's ordinance 2024-26, providing for the reconstruction of Stockton Avenue and appropriating $553,255 therefore, and providing for the issuance of $250,000 in bonds or notes of the borough to finance the same. This as per the conversation of the work session. Any other comments from council? If not, a motion for first reading.
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft,
I'll second it, Mayor.
second by Councilmember Connor. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next are authorizations. There is one, the Berkeley Striper Club meeting scheduled January 8th, 2025, time 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., location in the council chambers. Any questions, comments on the authorization?
I find everything in order, Mayor, so I approve.
Yeah, I thought we roped off the area for the dais last time. We had a discussion about that. Am I mistaken? Do you remember?
It did come up.
Didn't it come up that we would rope off the dais area up here so they wouldn't be coming back here for the equipment? I mean, that's my recollection.
That was a concern,
It
yeah.
was a concern, so I don't know if we can do that again, because I noticed there's nothing checked off for any police attendance. So I don't know how that would work, that they would be told they can't I mean, I know there's hooks on the end, I don't know if it can be roped, the chain can be roped on
On each end,
on each
yeah.
end.
Yeah,
So,
the chain right here.
yeah, so I think they need to be told that they're not allowed to come up on the dais area. They have to keep everything down on the meeting floor. That's just my recollection. I didn't see that in here this time, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if there needs to be any police attendants, I don't think so.
I mean, with regard to the equipment that's on the table, I mean, is it okay to leave that there? Or would you like that removed?
That should be, the equipment on the table should be fine.
Yeah, thank you. But I think we have to make sure they understand they're not to use this area back here.
I mean, an officer typically opens up, we can make sure password ID or.
Great, thanks. Okay, that's all I had, Mayor.
We don't know the, 50 people, okay.
It says 50 people, yeah, and the insurance certificate's proper.
No reason, I'm just curious if they were interested in using the J Street building, but I can see there's 50 people, and that probably would not be accommodating.
Yeah, I think they always have it here.
Yes, that's
It'd
very
be tough to change.
We didn't have that building completed last year, that's why it's worked out.
Yeah, plus they call out in the insurance, this room here.
So we have a motion with the transmitter letter, then from General, we'll put them on notice again about the roping off and not to be using the dais. Motion?
I'll make a motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Connors,
Second?
second by Councilman Rotunda. Roll call?
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes,
Council President Wilk?
Yes,
Motion approved.
Next is payment of claims, 224-336, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the check register bill list for the period November 22nd to December 5th, 2024. Any questions, comments from council? If not, a motion?
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft,
I'll second it.
second by Council President Wilk. Roll call?
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes,
Council President Wilk?
Yes,
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Motion approved.
The next are the resolutions. Number 10, I'll read in summary fashion. 337, authorizing an adjustment and/or a refund on tax accounts. 338, authorizing the purchase of flood insurance for one municipal plaza. 339, authorizing the purchase of flood insurance for Borough Hall. 340, appointing special law enforcement officers, SLEO, for the Borough of Seaside Park. 341, authorizing a shared service agreement with Ocean County Board of Health for the provision of animal facility services as per the work session discussion. 342, appointing seasonal employees for the Department of Beach Control. 343, governing body certification as to the annual audit being read. 344, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with the County of Ocean for the provision of services, materials, and equipment as set forth in Schedule C during the year 2025. And finally, 345, approving payment of the annual clothing allowance to eligible members of the Seaside Park Volunteer Fire Company Number 1. Any questions, comments from council on any resolution?
yeah, I have a couple comments just to give to the audience. The flood insurance for this building, Municipal Plaza here, is $9,526.80. For Borough Hall is $3,588.50. And the Schedule C is $14,000, that's Resolution 344. And that's $14,000, and that's the same amount that we had for last year. Part of that, $14,000 is $3,000 that are cut off for truck and pad washes. The rest is for salt, cold patch, and street sweeping processing.
Thank you.
That's all.
Any other questions, comments from council on any resolution? If not, it's our practice to allow any public comments on resolutions that are not required by law. If anyone has a comment on a resolution, they could give their name and address. Hearing none, I'll close the public portion. I'd entertain a motion from council as a consent agenda.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Council President Wilk,
I'll second it, Mayor.
second by Councilmember Connor. Roll call?
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
motion approved.
And that concludes the written items on the agenda for this evening. Anyone else on council have anything further?
Yeah, I guess I did out there that there was a problem, just discovered with the water bills that went out, there were approximately 150 water bills were not billed correctly for the overage. So a corrected bill went out with an explanation.
Very good. Any other questions, comments from council? Obviously, we want to again announce and welcome anyone and everyone from the public for the events for this Sunday. And that includes the craft fair, the initial event beginning at 10, is it?
10 o'clock.
10 till 4, and being held out on the property formerly located at Park Central, a lot, and that is the first event of the day, and the tree lighting itself will be held at 5, and we had good news, I think, from Joe Toth is organizing, and I think he has Santa lined up, Larry McCauley lined up, very nice of him as always, and I think he has the central people are coming too.
I think so.
Yeah, they were on tap, so
I think so.
everyone's invited. And then, of course, thereafter is the annual, the police department through the PBA and its members always put together a wonderful, very popular event with the annual dinner, and that begins at 6, listed for 6, will be at Triborough. So the public is certainly all welcome. It should be a fun-filled day. It's supposed to be a little warmer and less windy than today. That's what we're told.
Well, I was informed that the heating system has been repaired at Triborough.
Okay, that was very good. So anything else from council? If not, we'll go into the audience. If there's any public comments, if anyone has them, if they could give their name and address into the record. And yes, sir, we have 2 contests.
Tom Joseph, 704 South Bayview Avenue. When Mike and I ran for council, one of the things that we were trying to encourage was the idea that there should be more transparency in government and more information passed along so that these council meetings, for example, and the equivalent public meetings that happen with them would be more useful to the public. And although I'll admit the weather's pretty horrible out there, so I'm not too surprised there's not very many of us here. But unfortunately, what seems to be happening more often than not is almost nothing gets said here in the meetings. It's very hard to understand what's going on in the decision-making process. And then we read about it in Shorebeat. And the latest thing that I noticed that is really the most egregious indication of that is the article that appeared in Shorebeat recently describing the public meeting on the issue of drilling the well on Desert Palms. I don't think I've ever read anything that was more, let's start with inaccurate, than self-serving, and really is just a piece of unbelievably biased propaganda. And it's just rife with errors, misquotes, confusion, and I could go through the list. I have a list of
Are
the
you
things
talking
that
about
came
the
across, and
Shorebeat
I'm not
article?
going to. Excuse me?
Are you talking about the
Yeah,
Shorebeat
you said the
article?
short.
I'm talking about the Shorebeat article.
Oh, well, we can't.
Well, we don't have any control over it.
We don't have any control over
So
it.
I understand you don't, but I'm trying to explain why I object to the idea that the way we learn about stuff is by reading things in Shorebeat instead of hearing you ladies and gentlemen saying them here in the council meeting. that is a particularly egregious example of you don't get accurate information that way. So I'd rather we didn't use that as a mechanism for passing along information.
We don't ask them to do that.
This is
I'm
newspaper
sorry.
article.
I'm sorry, guys. What happens is you get up here and you say nothing.
Well,
You
that's not
pass
really
these
true,
things.
though.
He
Let me
watches
give you a
them.
simple
You don't pass
example.
anything.
Let me
He goes
give
on
you
the
a
site.
simple example. There was a little bit discussion, which was better than we usually get, about the Stockton Avenue reconstruction. And I'm glad you're going to do that. I don't object to doing that. The ordinance you actually passed, the entire description of the ordinance is the word reconstruction. That's typical of the things that happen here. Very little information is conveyed to those of us on the public that are willing to come out in this horrible weather and listen. And instead, what we read about mostly is a lot of information and background stuff is printed in Shoreby. I don't like that as a solution. I would rather hear it here. I would like people to come here and hear it. That's my message.
He gets his information from the videos that he watches.
I don't know what video he watched, because it
He
wasn't
watches
that
the
one.
video of the meeting.
I understand that, William. The problem is, either he was watching it with a drink in his hand, and it was his fourth drink, or I don't know how he managed to do it, but he heard a completely different meeting than the one I
We're not
attended.
Have you talked to him?
responsible for his
So my point
interpretation.
is, that is a terrible method for conveying information, and I'd
That's
like
why
to
we have the
encourage.
videos of the meeting.
I think your point is, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I think that the thing I would have to disagree with you is that you have the opportunity at every meeting. I think the mayor makes it more than clear, even on topics that he doesn't have to ask for opinion or questions, he always does. So anyone who's here can ask whatever they want. So there's nothing that, I mean,
It isn't
you're not
always
going to have
obvious
every
what
committee
questions to
work
ask.
session public, because it's just not, first of all, it's not practical, and second of all, I don't think it's required. And so we read out what the committees talk about. I don't know, I mean, you could be here for
Let's see.
hours on end.
I don't think I have heard in any of these meetings very much discussion of what the committees talked about. There aren't committee reports here. I understand there used to be, and that would be a logical thing to do. These committees meet and they advise the council, and you come here and make actions based on what you hear from those. And yet none of that information is conveyed to the public. And those committee meetings are often closed. So, anyway, my point is, I want to describe an example of why getting information by a different route that I object to, and I hear you guys saying you're not responsible for, it doesn't work. And I'd like to see more information conveyed in these meetings. I'd like to hear what the committees advise. I would have liked, and the working session is okay, except your sound system is, I'm not going to use any four-letter words, but I'd like to, because your sound system is a terrible piece of junk. And I am not well, actually, I am an acoustic engineer, but it has nothing to do with this kind of stuff. This could be fixed, and it wouldn't take much money. With the money you guys throw around on things which are important to the town, this could be more important to the town. Put a real system of microphones in here and actually provide something where we can hear the working sessions. And then talk more about why. Invite your administrator to give the why and wherefore of the things you do. 30 seconds of why Stockton needs reconstruction, for those of us that don't drive it every day, is an example. Marty gave a little bit of a description. That was better than nothing, and that was appreciated.
I can tell you, there were 3 meetings specifically on Stockton Avenue where I spoke about it. That's how I'm going to be honest with you. I just wanted to answer the question, but the first time was when we decided to put that out for the engineers to take a look at it and the reason why we were doing it, and there were complaints on how did we choose that. I'm just saying, but putting that out there.
Just looking for baby steps here, a little more information to get to the public. Let me close out the well question. 2 questions I have about that aren't about the Shore Beat article. The first one is, did we advertise that public meeting? And if we did, where was the article, where was the advertisement? They took up a lot of my time, so I'm gonna ask my two questions. Do you know where the advertisement was placed for the well meeting?
It was, it was.
Because I did a Google search and I couldn't find
It
it.
was in the Asbury Park Press.
Was
and
it?
And it was posted on our website on the front page.
Yeah, but the posting on the website is wrong. It's inaccurate. It describes the cost inaccurately. And by the way, that's not your fault. The draft that RVE published that came with the information, that's where the error was made. Their draft that they submitted to the DEP says the price is $1.5 million. It's not, it's 2.3. Anyway, I'm going to ask my second question because they kept me here longer than I needed to be. The DEP letter also says that there's going to be a report after that meeting that's prepared and submitted back to the DEP. Has that been prepared? If it has, I'd like to read it, so I would Oprah it. I just want to know if it exists yet.
The DEP letter for what? For the well?
Let me just
Transcript of the
describe
meeting.
it. The DEP said in their letter that they require a verbatim transcript or detailed minutes of the public hearing, including any written comments received on the proposed project and a summary of significant public comments. Has that been prepared so that I could Oprah it? I'd like to
Yes,
read
the
it.
DEP has received that.
Okay, and I'll just send in an Oprah request. I'd like to read it.
It's
Thank
on
you.
our website.
I'm sorry?
We sent the minutes that were approved, so they're posted on the website. I can send you the link if that's.
That's the thing that was submitted to DEP?
Yes.
All right, then I'll read it there. Thank you.
No problem.
Any other public comments? Yes, sir, Nelson?
Mayor Peterson, I'll be brief. Question on the, any progress on the
Just
boat
your
ramp?
official name for the record.
Nelson Rosenling, 122 M Street.
Thank you. Any official what? I
Any
didn't,
progress on the boat ramp, getting some of that muck out of there?
It was surveyed.
it was,
It was surveyed, but I don't, Karen, do you know if we had any update from the time it was surveyed?
We have not got any update from the engineer.
We did not get an update from the engineer, but it was surveyed.
So there's no report from the engineer at all as to what they're gonna do or what we can do?
Or if necessary. We looked at it, right, Marty?
Yeah, it was surveyed. I understand the question. It was surveyed, but no, we did not get a follow-up yet
Okay.
at this
That was-
point.
okay.
And then we did, Bill and I actually walked it, and the water's crystal clear, and we saw the blocks, and there was no sediment in there, and then I sent my drone up when the water was clear, the sun was at a certain angle, just to get the whole view of it. And, but no, to answer your question, we have not gotten back a report yet.
But our visual look that we did about a month ago, I mean, we could see the blocks. There was
Blocks
no
right to the end
muck.
of the block. There was no muck in there.
And if there is no muck, then it's gonna be advantageous to our town, huh? I mean, as far as getting work done quicker?
We don't know it wasn't there. It just wasn't there. The day we went there was nothing, you could see all the blocks.
But okay. I know there's been complaints about getting boats off trails,
The
right?
problem is related to that is super low tide. They're trying to launch
But
larger boats,
pontoon boats
pontoon boats that
that are high,
require.
sitting high
more
above the
lift.
trailer. You have to take it from the source of what type of boat's going in our ramp also. The boats were high on the trailer and they were pontoon boats.
Okay.
And the trailer was long and the vehicle was in the water and it was what it was. You have to weigh everything that we take in and
I
determine.
assume there's been multiple complaints, I'm just assuming that, is that correct? As far as the boaters using the ramp?
I can't answer that, I do
Okay.
not know that.
I'm one of them, I didn't complain to myself, but I believe there's a problem. But anyway, okay, number 2 question. Was there any money spent on the ball field so far recently?
I guess just engineering at this point, right?
Correct.
Just engineering at this point.
Has there been a report sent? Do we have any information?
A report.
With regards to what?
Engineering.
We did it at the last meeting.
Isn't there an engineering report we just sent?
Well, I guess that resulted in the estimates.
Is it draining for the engine? That's
Yeah.
the last report we have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so there's no further work, or no work done since the money's been allocated in this year's budget.
I mean, it's
Right.
planned, right?
Yeah, we planned it for the last
We did it at the last meeting.
we did the appropriation to move forward on the drainage.
Oh, okay, I didn't,
Yeah.
Was it 252,000 or something like that?
I don't remember the amount.
okay, thank you.
Any other public comments? Hearing none, I would close the public portion, and unless there's anything further from council, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion. Second?
Moved by Council President Wilk, second by Councilmember Kraft. Roll call.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda.
Yes.
Motion approved.
And thank everyone for coming out this evening.